Hey guys, it's me, Loch Snes Monster, aka Ganit Nanardo, finally back with another episode. First of all, I want to say thank you so much guys for everyone that stuck around. I lost virtually no subscribers during my hiatus, so I really appreciate that guys. I had to take some time off for personal reasons. I just couldn't fit YouTube into what was going on in my life. I'll get into that a little bit more maybe like the next episode, because I want to do a new room tour, because there's still going to be a new game room coming up, and of course I want to share what that looks like with you guys. Anyway though, so it's Halloween time guys. Hopefully this is coming out at the beginning of the week and it's not coming out in November like how the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror has been going for the last couple of years. So last year I did a little review on a horror CD that I got from Walmart, and it came with a bonus DVD, which is a really cool thing. And if you missed that and you want to check that out, it's going to pop up somewhere around here, and you can always find the link in the description. Check that one out, I'd really appreciate it. So this year's Halloween idea is my 5 favorite games that are horror themed that I like to play around the holidays. Most of these games I play yearly, just because it gets you in that, like scary, creepy, like it keeps it festive and it's fun for the holiday. So these aren't really in a particular order. I wasn't going to do a top 5, but it turned out to be 5 games, and that's kind of how the whole thing came together. So these are my 5 favorite horror style games to play around Halloween. Enjoy guys. So yeah, they're gonna be numbered, and I guess it turned out to be a top 5 anyway. So the first one coming up, number 5, Castlevania, also known in Japan as, forgive me if I butcher this, Akumaju Dracula. So this was an action platforming video game developed and published by Konami. Really great producers of quality games in the 80s and into the 90s as well. This originally came out on the Famicom, and it came to, I guess, the States and Canada around 86 or 87. Castlevania has always held a special spot in my heart. I think I can honestly say this was the first horror-themed game that I owned. What with Dracula, the mummy monsters, zombies, bats, etc. I remember the first time that I actually played the game. It was one of the first games that I rented at the local John's Video. That was actually the name of the place. The dude's name was John, and he rented videos. So I remember thinking how creepy it would be and how scared my cousin and I would be when we rented it. And it turned out to be a fantastic platformer with some of the best video game music I've heard, 8-bit or not. I simply love Castlevania on the NES. The whole series together I love. Like, I didn't grow up hating Part 2. I liked all of them, and I could play this game anytime, but it always gets played around Halloween. Number 4, Dead Space. Dead Space is a 2008 science fiction survival horror video game developed by EA Redwood Shores for Microsoft Windows, PS3, and the 360. The game was released on all platforms October 2008. Now, like most of you in your late 20s, early 30s, I grew up on a steady diet of B-horror movies. I'd seen it all. I still loved horror movies, they just didn't scare me anymore. I appreciated the silly stories, the effects, and the monsters. But, a game wasn't going to scare me anymore. I played Silent Hill. So when I saw the cover of Dead Space, I said, sure, I'm game. But when I first played it, wow, really fun, great story, I love the weapon system, and this game made me uneasy in a lot of parts. I'll admit it that I prayed for a lot of save stations in some areas. Even when you knew the body would get up, or you knew that something was going to pop out of the grate, you still had to psych yourself up to say, alright, I gotta get through this, I gotta finish this thing off. So I really enjoyed Dead Space, along with the sequels. Part 3 came off the horror side in my opinion, but overall, great, really fun series. Something that everyone should play through at least once. Dead Space. Number 3, Ghosts and Goblins. Now, Ghosts and Goblins is a 1985 side-scrolling platforming game developed by Capcom. And it originally came out in arcades, but it's been released on a lot of platforms, and this was the first in the Ghosts and Goblins franchise. I remember first playing this game at the Youth Center, and it was one of the 5 arcade cabinets in the snack area. I remember thinking it was scary, or at least the first time, because of the artwork and the marquee on the sides and on top of the cabinet. The hulking monster with that heart tattoo used to freak me out all the time because he seemed so unstoppable. I never made it that far in the arcade version as a child, but I did manage to beat the game once on the NES, but only the first playthrough. I never actually got through the second time. But Ghosts and Goblins is always fun. It's one of those games that you can always just pop into the NES. Frustrating, but it's worth playing anytime. So number 2 is Silent Hill. And I'm not going to speak too much about Silent Hill just because everyone always talks about it. It comes up like with all the PT stuff coming up now, and is there not going to be another game coming out for it? So, you know, Silent Hill was a survival horror video game for the PlayStation, and again, it was published by Konami. It was developed by Team Silent, which a lot of the people from that team have gone on to do other great things. The only thing that I really want to say about Silent Hill is it came out in 98, 99, and I remember that was like my last year of high school, and we used to take the PlayStation all the time, and we'd only play hockey, and then we'd play Silent Hill when we were like in our dorms, and it used to be like 4 or 5 of us, you know, like we're supposed to be all tough hockey players, but we'd all have the lights on and be freaked out from Silent Hill, and you know, just a lot of good scary memories. And you know, even when you pop it in the PS1 today, you know, the graphics aren't there, but the story is, and I think that really matters, and that's what holds it together. Number 1 is Resident Evil 2, you know, also known in Japan as Biohazard. It was a 1998 survival horror game, originally released for the PlayStation. Resident Evil 2 isn't necessarily a scary game, but, you know, at the time of its release, it wasn't like many other games that I had on the Nintendo 64, which is how I first played it. You know, it was different than everything else. Like, the dual story of Leon and Claire really put this game over the top for me, along with the fact that I'm a zombie aficionado, so I had to play it. The game gets my top spot just because of the great story, problem solving, and the fact that you can go back and just play as one character and still get a good game. The original Resident Evil and its remakes are fantastic as well. This is another series that I love, even though, you know, it kind of trailed off on the horror in recent entries. I still love Resident Evil. You know, there's just something about going through Raccoon City and the police station, etc. I'm definitely going to play the remake or remastering of Resident Evil 2 when it comes out. Hopefully it comes out in 2016. Well, that's it, guys. Those are my 5 horror games that I like to play around Halloween. I'd love to hear what your lists are. Obviously, we're going to have some discrepancies, so I'd love to see what you guys have to say down in the comments. And I'm going to start having videos again pretty much weekly. So again, guys, I appreciate everyone sticking around with the Loch Snes Monster channel. So guys, until next time, have a safe and happy Halloween, and I'm out of here.